All right, now the next handout, which is 18G, is going to talk about, again, the thyroid gland, and then this other set of glands that are kind of pea-sized that are on each side of the thyroid gland, called the parathyroid gland. Now, these two glands are going to secrete hormones for calcium regulation. This is something else we've talked about in first semester. So you might have a lot of familiar memories about these handouts because we actually talked about them before. This is kind of a chapter on review for a lot. There's some handouts coming up that we haven't mentioned before, but this is something that we did mention. And so if you remember, the thyroid gland doesn't just make thyroid hormones. It also makes a hormone called calcitonin. Now, calcitonin is going to stimulate osteoblasts. And if you remember, osteoblasts, whoops, I just unplugged my dot cam. Osteoblasts are cells that build bone. So what osteoblasts do is they take calcium from our bloodstream and add it to the bone. So we're adding bone matrix with calcitonin. So calcitonin's telling those osteoblasts to build bone, and osteoblasts then take calcium and add it to your bones. Parathyroid hormone does the opposite. So these are antagonistic hormones. The parathyroid hormone stimulates the osteoclast cells, which then breaks down bone. So osteoclasts are breaking down the bone and taking that calcium and adding it back to the blood. So we have a balance here where we're adding calcium from the blood to the bone, and then we're taking the calcium out of the bone and adding it back to the bloodstream. Now, if you remember, we need calcium for more than just bone density. We need it for muscle contractions and blood clotting. So the parathyroid hormone also tells our intestines to absorb more vitamin D so we can bring more calcium into the blood. And parathyroid hormone also signals the kidneys to retain calcium in the bloodstream and not pee it out. If you have excess calcium in your blood, you'll pee it out. You'll pee out the calcium. But if you don't have enough calcium, then parathyroid hormone will tell your body not to dump calcium out into urine. So again, this is just a negative feedback system where we are regulating the calcium levels in our bloodstream. Remember that we need to have calcium for those other processes like muscle contractions. So we will rob the calcium out of our bones before we take it from anywhere else so that we can keep our muscles contracting. So this is calcium regulation. It's pretty cool.